Look, let's be honest. Budget games are usually the worst games. And I'm sorry, poor people, but it's true. And I don't even feel bad saying it, since you've probably never even played normal games, and therefore don't even know what you're missing. Ignorance makes everything okay. Ignorance and Emma Watson movies. Point is, budget games are, they usually remind you like every 2 minutes that they are budget games and that they are cheap and poorly made. It's the nature of budget games to be that way. It's what makes them budget games. I gotta tell you, nothing cheap about this one so far. This one's been awesome so far. It's a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up with rad gameplay and this rad-as missile launcher. This one doesn't seem budgety at all. I haven't seen anything cheap about this one. I haven't seen a single thing that makes this game feel... Jesus, what the hell is that? So it's called Shooter Space Shot. And if I hadn't given up reading, I might have expected this ahead of time. It's probably my fault. But this is, if you couldn't tell, a really just very cheap video game. I mean, it's called Shooter Space Shot, which is a collection of 3 random nouns. It's like calling a game Sports Slime Slam. No, because even that makes sense. That sounds awesome. See, you can't even make up a name as generic as Shooter Space Shot. Picture tells 1,000 words. It's only because words like Shooter Space Shot have devalued words and crashed the market. They spent 5 minutes on that name, I guarantee it. Fortunately, they spent more time on the gameplay. It's like a fun game trapped in the body of a... Ah, sweet mother of God!
でしょまあそんな感じ結婚は今から
So, we should probably address the elephant in the room, or the demons in the room, because these are some of the most disturbing faces I've ever seen in my life. It's like Father Marin, the video game, this freaking thing. And look, I'm sure part of it's that it was 2001, Just like part of it's strange new tongues and vocal intonation. But it's also where the game starts to feel cheap. Like the cutscenes, that's when it really hits you that, oh right, this is a cheap video game, I'm a poor person. But that's the thing about Shooter Space Shot. Despite all these budgety things like the name that looks like Scrabble, the cover art that looks like tumors, the faces that look... It's really not a bad game. In fact, it's a decent little shooter. Emphasis on little, there's only like 5 levels. I mean, come on, it's a budget title. And in fact, the truth is, it was actually part of a series of games called the Simple Series. It was a Japanese thing, where a publisher called D3 just released a bunch of very simple games from a bunch of very different genres. The crazy thing is, some of them actually turned out really good. In fact, games like One Chanbara, Earth Defense Force, yeah, they actually started off in the Simple Series. This one isn't quite as good as those ones, but it is fun. And the combat, in particular, it has this really frantic pace. There's a main weapon you can fire, it's like a machine gun, but you can also create this wide targeting cone that launches homing missiles at the same time, which is really cool. Not to mention your giant mega laser thing, so you're blasting all kinds of crap with all kinds of crap. It actually gets pretty crazy. And the levels are all decent, too. Even though there's only a few, they're always fun to play through. At least the ones I saw were fun to play through. The game's also a real pain in the ass. Simple isn't always good, but a lot of times it is. And cheap isn't always good either, but you can buy color forms for next to nothing. So there goes that argument. Look, what I'm saying is, unlike your father's taste in clothing, this is an example of simple and cheap actually coming together for something good. There are better shooters on the PlayStation, but I'm not sure there are better, cheaper shooters on the... Alright, at this point, I just feel bad for the guy. Aww. It's Shooter Space Shot for the original PlayStation. Thanks to Mark from Brooklyn, New York, for sending it to the show.